Severely underpaid. That's how Frank Stapleton felt at Arsenal after 9 years of loyalty. The Irish striker who scored crucial goals and won the FA Cup was pushed to train with the reserves when he dared ask for fair wages. Arsenal fans called him greedy when he left, but the truth about how he was treated is actually heartbreaking. This is the story of a footballer who deserved so much better. What happened to Frank Stapleton after he left Arsenal might surprise you. His journey took him to the biggest clubs in Europe, but it wasn't the fairy tale ending anyone expected. Frank Stapleton was born in Dublin on July 10, 1956. He joined Arsenal as a teenager and quickly became one of their most reliable forwards. By the late 1970s, Stapleton was a key player for the Gunners. He helped them win the FA Cup in 1979, scoring important goals when it mattered most. Arsenal fans loved him because he worked hard and never gave up. Stapleton wasn't the flashiest player, but he was effective. He could score with his head or his feet. He created chances for teammates too. For nearly a decade, he was one of Arsenal's most consistent performers. The club relied on him season after season. His physical presence in the box made him a constant threat to opposing defences. But behind the scenes, things weren't going well. Stapleton felt he wasn't being paid fairly compared to his teammates. He had several clashes with manager Terry Neal about his salary. After giving 9 years to the club since he was 16, Stapleton felt taken for granted. The young man who had grown up at Arsenal was no longer feeling the love. The situation got worse when Liam Brady left Arsenal in 1980. Brady was one of their best players, and Arsenal didn't replace him properly. This worried Stapleton about the club's ambition. He started to think Arsenal weren't serious about winning trophies anymore. The departure of such a key player without adequate replacement sent a clear message about the club's priorities. Stapleton made multiple transfer requests, trying to get Arsenal's attention. He wasn't being greedy, he just wanted fair treatment. But the club wouldn't budge on his wages. The relationship between player and club broke down completely. Arsenal seemed to think they could keep him on the cheap because of his loyalty. In 1981, Stapleton's contract was up for renewal. The negotiations failed badly. Arsenal offered him terms he felt were completely unfair. Other clubs started showing interest, including Liverpool. Stapleton agreed terms with Liverpool, but they wouldn't pay the £2 million Arsenal wanted. Liverpool weren't prepared to go to a tribunal either. Manchester United came in with an offer of £700,000. When Arsenal and United couldn't agree on the fee, it went to a tribunal. The tribunal set the price at £900,000. This was a lot of money in 1981, showing how valuable Stapleton really was. The fee proved his worth, even if Arsenal hadn't recognised it. Arsenal fans were furious when they heard about the move. They saw it as a betrayal because United were rivals. Stapleton faced animosity from supporters who had once cheered his goals. During pre-season, Arsenal made him train with the reserve team. After 9 years of service, this treatment was cruel and unnecessary. The fan reaction was particularly harsh and unfair. They called him disloyal and greedy, but Stapleton had given his best years to Arsenal. He'd scored crucial goals and helped them win trophies. All he wanted was fair pay and to play for an ambitious club. The supporters couldn't see past their anger to understand his position. Moving to Manchester United in 1981 was the right decision for Stapleton. He proved his worth immediately on the pitch. United were more ambitious than Arsenal at the time. They backed up their ambition by paying Stapleton properly and building a team around quality players. This was exactly what he had been asking for at Arsenal. At United, Stapleton flourished like never before. He won the FA Cup twice, in 1983 and 1985. These victories showed he was right to leave Arsenal. While Arsenal struggled without him, Stapleton was winning major trophies at Old Trafford. The move justified all the controversy and criticism he had faced. Stapleton formed good partnerships with other United forwards. He scored important goals in big matches throughout his time there. His work rate and determination fit perfectly with United's winning culture. The fans appreciated his commitment and professionalism from day one. Unlike at Arsenal, he felt valued and respected by everyone at the club. For 6 years, Stapleton was a key player for Manchester United. He proved that leaving Arsenal wasn't about money or disloyalty. It was about ambition and being treated fairly. United gave him both things that Arsenal couldn't or wouldn't provide. But every career has ups and downs. In 1987, Stapleton decided to try something completely different. Ajax came calling, and the Dutch club had a great reputation worldwide. They played beautiful football under the legendary Johan Cruyff. It seemed like the perfect next step for Stapleton's career. Unfortunately, his time at Ajax was deeply disappointing. Cruyff played a system called total football that required players to be extremely fit. Stapleton struggled with injuries from the very start. His body couldn't cope with the demands of this revolutionary new style. The Dutch game was faster and more intense than he expected. In the entire season, Stapleton made only 6 appearances for Ajax. He scored just 1 goal, and that came against Dundalk in the Cup Winners' Cup. For a player used to being a regular starter, this was frustrating and demoralising. His confidence took a major hit during this difficult period. Cruyff noted that Stapleton was vulnerable to injury problems. The Dutch style didn't suit a player who was now in his 30s. Total football needed pace and stamina that Stapleton could no longer provide consistently. Age was catching up with him at the worst possible time. The injuries kept coming throughout the season. Stapleton couldn't adapt to what Ajax wanted from him. By the end of 1987, he was loaned out to Anderlecht in Belgium. This was a clear sign that Ajax had given up on making the transfer work. The dream move had turned into a nightmare. In early 1988, Stapleton returned to England with Derby County. His adventure in European football was officially over. The Ajax move, which should have been a highlight of his career, became one of its lowest points instead. Looking back, Stapleton's career was marked by both triumph and disappointment. He won FA Cups with both Arsenal and Manchester United. He was a key player for the Republic of Ireland national team, but he was also treated poorly by clubs that should have valued him more highly. The way Arsenal handled his departure was particularly sad and short-sighted. After 9 years of loyal service, they made him train with reserves and let fans turn against him. This treatment was unfair to a player who had given so much to the club over nearly a decade. At Ajax, injuries and age caught up with him at the worst time. The move that should have been a glorious final chapter became a struggle. Cruyff's demanding system was too much for a player past his physical peak. Frank Stapleton is now 68 years old in 2025. Many modern football fans don't remember his name or his achievements. This is a real shame because he was a quality player who deserved better treatment from some of the clubs he served with distinction. His story reminds us that football has always been a tough business. Players who give everything for their clubs can still be treated unfairly. Stapleton's experience at Arsenal shows how loyalty isn't always rewarded properly by the people in charge. But Stapleton also showed great character throughout his entire career. He never complained publicly about his treatment. He kept working hard and scoring goals wherever he played. Even when things went wrong at Ajax, he maintained his professionalism and dignity. The controversy around his Arsenal departure overshadowed many of his real achievements. People remember the transfer saga more than his goals and trophies. This is unfair to a player who was genuinely talented and committed to winning. Stapleton's career teaches us about the importance of standing up for yourself. He was absolutely right to leave Arsenal when they wouldn't pay him fairly. The success he had at Manchester United proved he made the correct decision for his career. Modern players have much better protection through agents and strong unions, but in Stapleton's era, players had much less power. They often had to accept unfair treatment or risk being seen as troublemakers by the media and fans. Frank Stapleton deserves to be remembered as more than just a controversial transfer. He was a skilled striker who won important trophies and represented his country with pride. The way he was treated at times was genuinely sad, but his response showed real strength of character. What other forgotten football legends do you think deserve more recognition? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's give these players the credit they earned.